Hello, happy crocheters. This is Lindsay from WindingRoadCrochet.com, and today I wanted to do a completely different style video because I wanted to share with you all the pieces I crocheted for my daughter's Halloween costume. So come along as I show you how I transformed my daughter into a cute little Viking. We really wanted to use as much as we could items that she already had, and we needed a pair of boots. So we had these cute little cowboy boots, and we wanted to turn them into Viking boots. And we did that with a easy boot cuff. I was really happy with how this turned out, and I would love to know what you think in the comments below. Is this a cute idea to be able to turn something you already own into something else, either for a play or a Halloween costume or just for dress up? I will link a similar boot cuff pattern over to the side, but basically all we did was make a chain that would go around the boot, and then I worked linked double crochet until I had the boot cuff as long as I needed it to be. Then when I reached the bottom of the boot cuff, I really wanted to make a flap to cover this little stitch design. So I began working single crochets along the back and the side of the boot cuff, and then double crochets across the front, working 3 increases on each row. And that gave me a cute little flap that would cover up that cowgirl stitching. And to give it a nice Viking feel, we of course added some fur to the top using a fur yarn and a few rows of single crochet stitches. How did we do? The next piece she needed was some skirt armor, and this is what we came up with. It is made from 2 pieces. We have the bottom pieces, which is just these pieces of armor, and then we have a belt piece on the top that we sewed these pieces to. For the belt armor, I started with a basic triangle. It is very similar to my pendant banner pattern that I can put up in the cards. Once the triangle was as big as I wanted it to be, I worked even rows back and forth, and then about every 7 to 9 rows, I would work a simple decrease to make this slim up a little bit as it approached the top. I just repeated that and then made a belt and sewed everything in place. To decorate the belt, my husband made some thin wood skulls. I originally sewed these onto the belt using an invisible thread, but my toddler was successful at ripping several of these off. So now what I'm going to do is use some gray yarn to sew this in place. And you'll just have to tell me, what do you think? Is the yarn a close enough match to the paint? We tried so hard to get them to match. So that is her cute little armor belt. To add a little bit more Viking flair, we gave her some fingerless gloves with a cute little fur trim. We only needed 1 skein of yarn of the fur and used it as often as we could. So for this project, we just made a chain that went around the middle of her forearm. We worked even rows all the way up to halfway through her thumb. And then at that point, halfway through the row, I skipped 4 stitches. That allowed me to have a thumb hole, and then just worked 1 additional row above that thumb hole. Again, I am using linked double crochet for all of this with a large hook so that the project would just get done quickly. I just love how well this turned out. My daughter adored these fingerless gloves. She wears them all the time, and I could absolutely make them for her for any of her dress-up clothes. Now for this little Viking to stay warm, we did of course make her a cute little hood that is fur brimmed as well. We are getting the most out of this fur yarn. To make a hood like this, it's actually quite simple. All you need to do is create a starting chain that is the same length as the depth of your hood. Then work double crochet, again using linked double crochet, go down 1 side of the chain, continue along the other side of your starting chain in order to create a U-shaped hood. This hood is worked exactly like my Wanderer's crochet hood, And the idea is you have no seam at the top of your hood. You continue working those U-shaped rows until the hood is as long as you'd like it to be. And so because of that, you could adjust this hood size for anyone. When you get done working your hood, I just worked an additional chain, came back and double crocheted across that chain, and then double crocheted all the way around in one more row and just sewed those 2 stitches together. Then I worked the fur trim around the top of the hood, and this project was done. So the character that this project was inspired by wears a red shirt, at least some of the time. And I wanted to make a red shirt for my daughter. Yeah, I know, I could have bought a red shirt easy enough, but I just thought it would be fun to crochet her one. And this one really wasn't that difficult. So let me walk you through it. I started with a chain that went around my daughter's waist, and then I worked simple double crochets in joined rows. So they're joined, I believe here on this side you can see the seam, not sewn, just joined as we go. We basically made a tube top. Now at the bottom of the tube top, I did work front post and double crochet to make a cute little ribbing. Funny thing is, I only worked 2 rows of this and then later came back and worked, 10 more rows because it ended up being a huge belly shirt on her and we did not want that. But that's the nice thing about crochet, you can make modifications. Once the tube top was as tall as I thought I wanted it, I started working only one side. So I worked in back and forth rows. And what I did was work double crochet for like the first 10 stitches, then 3 half double crochet, then as many single crochet to get myself across, 3 half double crochet, and 10 more double crochet. And I repeated that row over and over and over again. And what it ended up with these kind of flared puffy sleeves and a nice neckline. Then I just flipped the project over and repeated it on the other side. And as you can see, this shirt is already dirty because she has been constantly wearing this and playing Vikings running around the house. Once the 2 sides were done, I just slip stitched about 5 or 6 stitches together on both sides. This turned out super cute. To finish it up, I simply single crocheted around the sides of the double crochet rows. And that is her cute little Viking shirt. Now we are getting into the pieces that were not crocheted, and it's just because some things are a little harder to crochet, like these shoulder armor. But it actually wasn't that difficult. We used some foam rectangles and simply glued them only in that center inch. Then we curved them and shaped them and used hot glue to glue them into the shape that we wanted. And then I simply painted it and we had 2 armor shoulders. The last piece we made was a foam axe, and yes, we could have purchased one, but we really wanted to experiment with making things out of foam, so we simply used 2 thick pieces of foam, cut a shape out, added some details, glued it around a dowel rod with a wooden centerpiece for the center of the axe, and there you go. We had a cute little 4-foot tall Viking. So I would love to know what you thought of this project. If you'd like me to share more projects like this, I wasn't able to get crochet patterns for all of this, but I really wanted to give the inspiration to be able to make your own things, either for Halloween, for dress up play clothes, for a play. I just think it's a lot of fun. Let me know what you think in the comments below.